We come to this sacred space, made more sacred in this moment by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. If you're live streaming this morning, especially if you haven't done so before, please send us a quick note letting us know who you are and where you are live streaming from, and whatever else is on your mind. Please send that note to checkingin@winchesteruu.org. It's good to know who is with us. So for those here in the sanctuary, let's turn towards the welcoming congregation banner and wave to offer our greetings to the folks live streaming at home. And here in the sanctuary, let us turn and greet one another.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And welcome to this morning's service of the Winchester Unitarian Society, a caring religious community devoted to spiritual growth, social transformation, and environmental responsibility. And as a welcoming congregation, we affirm the full inclusion of people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. My name's Martin Newhouse. I'm the worship associate this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith does not require us to believe in a dogma or a tenet or a creed, and among us we believe many different things. We prize freedom of thought and open, honest discussion and questioning, because these, we believe, enrich both our spiritual lives and our work in the community. Indeed, we can still today proudly state, as the very first minister of this society, Richard Metcalf, did over 100 years ago, we do not regard even the best creed as final. We look for new truths, new statements of old ones. We maintain the unlimited right of free inquiry. But as I often say when I'm here, while our faith does not require us to impose or believe in any dogma or belief, we recognize that it does call upon us to do certain things, and among these we recognize and affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and in that spirit we greet with joy and fellowship all who are gathered with us this morning, both in person and on live streaming. We welcome everyone. If you missed the announcements this morning, they will be displayed again at the end of the service. You may also access them via the URL printed in your order of service. And I want to note that Sean Yun is our video coordinator today instead of Jay Kwan. Thank you, Sean. Today is a special Sunday, as I believe everybody knows, our usual annual Christmas pageant. This year, all are invited who haven't done so to take a costume in a paper bag located in the Sims room behind the sanctuary to play a part in what is coming. If you haven't yet chosen a costume, we invite you to do so during the opening hymn. Immediately after worship, all are invited to Metcalf Hall, where our senior youth group, Wussy G, is holding a holiday fundraiser. There will be food and treats to cross things off your holiday shopping list and a time of caroling. Your donations will fund the Wussy G spring service trip. Now, let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
In this time of mystery and magic, let us enter into the Christmas story as if we were there on that holy night. What part will you play this year? Are you the mother, trusting your body to know what to do when the time of birth comes? Are you the father, protecting your vulnerable family from unknown threats on a strange journey? Are you the innkeeper who has no room or will take you in? Perhaps you are the animals who hear the child's first cry. But who will sing the songs of rejoicing for the precious babe? Who will rise up and follow the bright star of hope, even if it means a few lost sheep? What wise ones will give away their wealth and remember what to adore? And when the Holy Family must travel once again, who in this harsh land will shelter them? This morning, let us search our hearts for our place in the Christmas story that never ends. Let us choose again in the incarnation of love.
We now invite Emily Ippolito to come forward to light the chalice. Emily, are you here? And kindle the fourth candle on the Advent wreath. This Sunday, the Advent wreath is lit in celebration of peace. Our words of dedication are drawn from a Hanukkah blessing in recognition of the Jewish festival beginning tonight at sundown. We honor the great mystery of the universe, the source of all, which deems everything sacred by its power to unite us and give us the radiance that we bring forth together. We cherish the wonder of each thing, the order of the universe that binds us together with all of nature, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. Now please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our opening hymn, Go Tell It on the Mountain. It can be found, the words can be found in the insert in your order of service. Due to the pageant, we have our offertory this early in the service, so get ready. One hoped-for goal of our church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous and in spirit and in action. This indeed is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring us human beings closer to the divine by acts of creation, generosity, and compassion. We now are asked to make an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will help support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. Today, we share the plate with the Lexington Refugee Assistance Program, LEX-RAP, or LEX-RAP, whose mission is, quote, to support and to assist refugees and asylum seekers into American society. This assistance includes a support network for housing, food, clothing, transportation, health care, education, especially English, employment, legal aid, and socialization. And here are the different ways you can donate. Those attending by live stream will soon see information about how to give. Those here in the sanctuary may give cash, checks, or donate electronically. Text to the number in your order of service or visit our website under the Giving page. Please write or type the date of your offering in the memo line or comment field. And if you are visiting us for the first time, either in person or virtually, you are our guest. The most valuable thing you can offer us this morning is your contact information so we can stay connected beyond this Sunday. Live stream attendees will see information about how to complete a virtual visitor card. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card at the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it in the collection plate. The offering this morning will now be generously given and gratefully received.
And as Caroline and Hannah come on up, I just wanted to explain a little bit about Ocho Candelitas. It is a Hanukkah song, and it celebrates the 8 days of Hanukkah, as you would expect, Ocho. It's in Ladino, which is a dialect of Spanish and Hebrew, and you'll hear a lot of celebrations. It's actually a lot about the celebrations of Hanukkah, the family celebrations, about the festivals and the pastries and the sweets that get shared.
If you wish to do so, please join me in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love.
It is almost time for our paper bag pageant. So this is the last call. If you haven't already put on your costume, please put it on now. This just in, there are still some costumes on the benches in the Sims room in case you're looking for one. Let us begin. Each year, we retell the story of Jesus' birth. This morning, I invite you to hear this ancient and familiar story once again. This story of a baby born in a stable, a story of shepherds and wise people, the story of angels and shining stars. Many of you will take part in telling the story. You'll help us to experience this old story in a new way, as if it were happening for the first time right here and right now. Brenna, Sam, and I will narrate the story, and we'll give you directions and tell you when it's your turn to come up front. Don't worry about doing things right or making mistakes, because there aren't any mistakes today. This is the most important part of the directions. There aren't any mistakes today. There is only us, telling the story of the birth of a little baby named Jesus who was born in an unexpected place and grew up to have a hard and important life, and whose teachings were all about love, inclusive, accepting, and challenging love. And these teachings about love are so powerful that we are still teaching them today. There is only us, bringing the story of that baby's birth joyfully and messily and chaotically to life. And messy and chaotic and hopefully with a lot of joy is how new life usually comes into the world. So that is exactly how it should be here this morning too. So if Mary and Joseph and their donkey will go to the back of the sanctuary, and a certain Roman emperor who will hopefully have mercy upon the narrators and not threaten to toss them to the lions will come to the lectern, the story can begin.
A long time ago, in a place called Palestine, the Roman Empire ruled the land, and everyone had to do what the emperor, that's me, told them to do, whether they liked it or not. Even if it meant that people had to travel a long way in order to get counted so that they would have to give the emperor money. And that's exactly what happened. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus, that's me, and here is what it said. All the world has to be counted in a census, so I will know how many people owe me money, and once I know how many people there are, I will make them pay me taxes. And just to be perfectly clear, I am the emperor, and I am in charge of all things, and all those taxes people have to pay, they will pay them to me. So says the emperor.
So all the people had to go to the city or town where they had been born to register. For some people, that meant a long journey. Joseph, a carpenter, and Mary, the woman to whom he was engaged to be married, lived in the town of Nazareth, and they had to go to the town of Bethlehem, which was about 70 miles, a very long walk. Mary and Joseph and Mary's little donkey will you begin your long, slow journey from Nazareth up the center aisle now? Okay, that's far enough for now. Stay right there. Mary was pregnant, and she was going to have her baby very soon, and she was tired and very uncomfortable. Walking was hard, and riding on the donkey hurt her back. But there was nothing that could be done about it. They had to go. So they traveled slowly, sometimes even walking into the dark nights, which were lit only by bright stars. Okay, we need some stars now. Will the stars please come forward and stand next to the pulpit so you can shine on the rest of the story? If at any point stars need to rest, you can sit on the stage. You have my permission. John, is John here? Can you play some starry music?
When Mary and Joseph finally arrived in Bethlehem, they went to the inn in Bethlehem. Innkeeper, would you come up front to answer your door? The innkeeper answered the door and told Mary and Joseph and their little donkey,
Sorry, between the census and my first night of Hanukkah, my inn is all full. Sorry about that. There is some. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not really an innkeeper. I'm actually a distant relative of Joseph's. So here's the story. So Joseph went to Bethlehem, which is here, but when he left, his relatives stayed back. I'm one of them. I'm actually his fourth cousin, twice removed. Long story about that, but that's another time. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the inn's full.
The guest rooms were full because so many people had returned to Bethlehem for the census. But Joseph's fourth cousin, twice removed,
Thank you.
saw how tired Mary and Joseph were and how very pregnant Mary was, and he knew he had to make some room for them somewhere.
Come on in. There's a stable in the back. It's not like the cleanest. There's a lot of animals, but hey, it's a stable. But I can bring you some food, some water, maybe some blankets, anything you need to sort of clean yourself off. But yeah, just come with me. I'll show you where it is. It's not too bad. Free rent.
The custom of providing welcome was very strong, so he told them they could stay in the stable.
Yes.
But the stable wasn't a building out in the back separate from everything else. In those days and at that time, people had a small room attached to the main part of their house that was for their animals. So it would have been pretty crowded in the stable and full of animals because it was, well, a stable. But the family would have been nearby too, and Mary and Joseph would not have been all alone while she went through labor and childbirth. Anyway, the innkeeper, also known as Joseph's fourth cousin, twice removed,
Thank you.
said that they could come on in. So innkeeper, can you lead Mary and Joseph and their donkey up here to the stable? And here are your stools, Mary and Joseph. The donkey can sit on the ground.
Said, the stable was just a very small room, kind of stuck onto the rest of the house. And like most stables, it had animals in it. The innkeeper kept a donkey there, and a small milk cow, and a flock of chickens, and there was a beautiful barn cat and some quiet mice living in the corners. And there was also, anybody can think of some other animals that might be there? Cows, bumblebees, squid, octopus. What? Hyenas, wombats, everything. So all of these animals and creatures, except the camels and the sheep who will come later in the story, come on up and gather in the stable. You can crawl or slither or hop or walk or fly up here, depending on what kind of animal or creature or being you are. If you didn't choose a costume, but you would still like to come to the stable, come on up. And if you're a little shy and a very small animal, maybe one of your grown-ups would come up with you to the stable to join you. The animals welcomed Mary and Joseph and were even kind enough to give up their hay-filled manger or feeding trough so the baby could have a bed. As soon as Mary and Joseph got settled in, it became clear that it was time for the baby to be born. So while the baby's being born, let's rise in body and spirit to join in singing Away in a Manger. The words are in the insert in your order of service.
Thus, Mary gave birth to a very beautiful little baby, as you can see, in a simple stable surrounded by animals. Joseph and Mary wrapped their baby up warmly, and they named the baby Jesus because Joseph had already had a dream that the baby's name should be Jesus. The animals welcomed the baby by making all their animal noises, chirping or mooing or baaing or meowing or barking, but gently so that they wouldn't scare the baby. So animals, would you make your noises for the baby Jesus? Oh, that's nice and gentle. Perfect. Now, in that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks at night. They were high up in the hills, keeping their sheep safe on a dark and quiet night. So now we need the shepherds and sheep. Will all of the shepherds and sheep gather at the back of the sanctuary? Shepherds, bring your crooks. When you are ready, our border collie, named Diana, will lead you halfway down the aisle to your hills. Will the congregation please stand as able and sing the first Noel?
While the shepherds were watching their flocks by night, suddenly an angel named Gabriel, who was an extremely important and very cool angel amongst all the angels, stood before them. John, could you do a short burst of angel music while the angel Gabriel comes to stand before us? The angel stood before them, and a great light shone all around them, and the shepherds were so afraid, which means terrified. But the angel said to them,
Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be for all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a deliverer, a Messiah, who is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign to you. You shall find the baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. In other words, there's nothing to be afraid of. I have amazing, incredible news, and it is for everyone. Today in Bethlehem, a baby was born, and this baby is going to grow up to make things better, especially for people who don't have riches or power, the ones that everyone just walks by without really seeing. Well, this baby will see them. Don't bother looking in fancy places, though. You will find the baby in a little shed, all wrapped up, surrounded by animals, and sleeping in the hay in the feeding trough, which is actually pretty comfortable, in my angelic opinion.
And suddenly there was with the angel Gabriel a whole choir of angels. So will all the angels fly over here and join Gabriel in the sky. Angels are gonna go over there a little bit. So the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place." So the shepherds went quickly to Bethlehem, bringing along their sheep, and the angels gathered in the sky around the stable to help light the way. So while all the angels and the shepherds and the sheep and the border collie, all of you come to Bethlehem, let's stand as we are able and join in singing Angels We Have Heard on High. The words are on the insert in your order of service.
When they got to the stable in Bethlehem, the shepherds and their sheep found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in the manger, just as the angel Gabriel had told them. And they were so amazed. They told everyone what the angel had said to them about the newborn baby. And everyone who heard the story was amazed too. But Mary just remembered all these things and kept them in her heart, though mostly she loved the baby. And the sheep gently baaed for the baby because they were so happy and loved the baby too. They sensed that the baby was special. Sheep, could you baa now for baby Jesus? Baa. Baa. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem, 3 wise persons who were kings and queens from the Far East came to Jerusalem traveling on camels. Will the wise persons and their camels go to the back of the sanctuary now? Don't forget to bring your gifts. What happened was that the wise persons had learned about a prophecy, a prediction, that the Messiah, the long-awaited king of the Jewish people, would be born in Bethlehem. So the wise persons set out with their camels on a long journey to Bethlehem, bearing special and beautiful gifts for the baby because they wanted to honor the baby. When the wise persons finally found the baby in the stable, they were overwhelmed with joy. And they opened their bags and brought out their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. Let us rise in body or in spirit to join in singing We Three Kings, while the wise persons and camels make their way to Bethlehem and give their gifts to the baby. As folks are arriving, if there's room here on the stage, I invite our recent arrivals to find a spot. Let's gather together as actors in this sacred story. And shepherds and stars, please come forward so you're in the tableau. Now we have gathered everyone who is part of the story of the birth of Jesus. Let's pause for a moment and just look. Look at the shining stars and angels. Look at the shepherds and sheep and wise persons and camels and animals all gathered together peacefully in the manger. Look at the presents and look at the baby. This story is about hope and new life. It is a story about birth and wonder and mystery. It's a story about love getting born into this world and how love can change everything. It is all still here. Look, it is all still here. Our closing hymn is O Little Town of Bethlehem. As we sing, everyone can make their way, oh so carefully, back to their seats. We ask that you put your costume in its paper bag and leave it in your pew if you can. And let us rise in body and spirit to join in singing O Little Town of Bethlehem. We have shared stories, sung carols, opened our hearts to the beauty of music. We have dared to hear a message of hope, spoken once again against the challenge of the world. It is time now to depart, to go forward to our lives and to the world. May joy be your companion, whether you are with others or alone. May love be your strength, and may the gift of community dwell within your heart. Go in peace. Amen.
Please join me in reciting the words in your order of service for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our service is ended, but our life of service continues. Let us all gather together in Metcalf Hall for the WSEG fundraiser.